Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Shoot the Shift, Season 3. Apparently, my words don't work today. We have got with us, as normal, Mr. Milton.
Hello.
Mr. Matthew.
Hello.
And this guy called Bryn.
Hi.
So, we're here for another week. Good news for those of you who have been waiting. Next week, John from Formula G is going to be on the show. Not next week, the next episode. The week after, yeah. The one we're filming on Friday the 25th, so you'll see it on the Monday after that.
Awesome.
Bryn's trying to do maths in his head. But yeah, we've got the owner of Formula G coming on, so we're going to chat race series and what makes you want to buy a race series. We're going to talk about the Formula G Open Day that's coming up, so that's pretty banging news.
That's already been announced. It's December 17th.
That is correct, Mills. Well done. As a competitor, Milton knows the dates. I was testing him.
Well, I'm coaching.
He is. He's going to be there coaching.
We've got Mantas there as well. Gymkhana Grid champion, the longest standing and the last one, I think, from what I've seen.
So does it count when they didn't run an event?
Shut up, Matt. Stop blowing holes in my ship.
Is it longest standing because he's like really tall when he stands up?
No, because he got it like 4 years ago now.
Wow.
Really, 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, things are a long
And then
time.
the world went a bit crazy.
So
I was thinking 2019. Anyway,
yeah.
we can discuss that
back on track.
So
yeah, on the 17th of December, you can go down, you can hang out with a couple of top tier Formula G drivers and Milton and learn how to drive around barrels as though your car were a pony. Top marks.
That's what Jim. Yeah.
Yeah, that is it. Milton was like, "What's he on about?" And then he remembered. The new feature that we have every week is the news with Matt. Take it away, Matthew.
probably a bit more exciting than a discontinued Fiesta.
Okay.
But Mad Mike has finally revealed his Pikes Peak car.
Okay.
So it's a rear-wheel drive converted Mazda 3. So the current gen, the current shape. Four-rotor, obviously. Rear-wheel drive converted, I think I said that. Twin turbo, making 1,400 horsepower.
Yes!
So the amount of power they're getting out of these four rotors now is just insane.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't that long ago when he built the Mark III MX-5 that now has Mark IV body panels on it. That was twin turbo four rotor, and that was about 1,200, I think.
1,200 easy, he said.
Yeah. And Rob Darm's four rotor, that's a single turbo, makes about 1,200. And now we're up to 14.
This big.
Yeah. Rob Darm's turbos, like, I think I saw a piece and he held up his turbo and he's like, yeah, this is the biggest turbo Garrett makes. It's for like a cat dump truck or something like that.
When you see when you see like the drag rotaries and stuff, you're like, the turbo is literally larger than the engine. How is all that air going in there? It doesn't fit.
Rob's intake, I think the housing, I think he said was 4 inches. Like,
And we're no longer PG.
So the other exciting thing about it is he's going to use it for obviously Pikes Peak. He's after the fact he's going to use it for drift demos and stuff like that. So it's going to go sideways, and it's got 4 seats.
Nice.
So it'll go nicely alongside his Mad Cab.
Nice.
So it should be pretty cool to see that running.
That's cool. That's some cool news this week, Matt. That's
a
good.
bit more exciting than last week.
A bit more exciting than last week, yeah.
How much is your rotary going to make then?
Mayonnaise. Well, about 20 gallons of mayonnaise.
There's only 2 rotors for a start, and the one going in the MX-5 has no turbo,
so 600 horsepower easy. I mean, obviously, like that's maths. We just mathed, so
that's how you math. That's how you car math.
Yeah. Okay. So before we get onto the main topic this week, I think me and Matt will both agree on this because I know we've both got these setups at home. I think it's a really important thing to think about. we're going into the land of the kind of crunch of money thing, whatever crisis they're calling it.
Cost of living.
Yeah.
Cost of living crisis. There we go. And I noticed some people sniffing around one of my cars today. Which is a bit worrying to see. What they didn't realise is it doesn't have a steering wheel in it, so bonus points to me. But I noticed that because of my security system at home.
Something definitely I should think about.
It's definitely a thing to think about. So there's a couple of points I wanted to come to on that right at the top end of the episode. And we'll pop some affiliate links down in the description for those of you watching on YouTube. I really like the Blink camera system because it gives you snapshots. It's really cheap, really easy to put up. But Matt, you've got a more hardcore wired system at home.
Yeah, so for something cheap and quick and easy, Blink all the way, because that's what I started with. The problem I had with the Blink cameras is they're not as reliable picking up motion. So I picked up what they call, I think it's NVR, I think it is, which is basically wired and 24/7 recording.
Yeah.
So the setup I've got is Unify specifically, but there are cheaper versions of it. But the idea is it records 24/7, and then it captures motion as individual clips exactly the same way that the Blink cameras do, but it tags on like the 30 seconds before and after the motion stops, so I get a bigger clip with more in it. And if one camera picks something up and the other doesn't, and they go into the other camera, I can search through the footage and find it that way. But my setup's very expensive compared to the Blink cameras, so I'd always suggest if you just want something cheap, cheerful, basic, because you can pick up Blink cameras for like 100 quid, kind of.
Yeah.
They're not expensive.
Yeah, I'll link the 3 outdoor pack. That's what I've got around the house. It's a really, really handy system.
2, I think.
And
I think the good thing about it is if you see it on the doorbell, it makes a chirp. That's just a deterrent. They're going to see it and go, "Oh shit, I'm being recorded now."
That's the other thing is a lot of security devices. If somebody is hell bent on taking your car, they will take your car regardless of what security measures you've got. But for opportunistic thieves, they're deterrents, and they'll see the camera and go no, and I'll look somewhere else.
Yeah, you're just passing the buck to someone else. But see, unfortunately,
and another
if somebody wants it, they'll take it.
Yeah, another side of this for the cost of living crisis, and we know a lot of people who listen are tight on funds at the moment. That I think is worth noting is particularly on my home insurance, because of the home insurer I'm with, I get a discount for having those security cameras. So in the discount in the links in the description, I've provided a link to an insurance company called Lockit, and they basically give you a discount for all the smart home security you've got in your house. So I get like 15% off my home insurance
just by investing in it. Yeah,
just by investing. And they actually have a program that you can sign up for to like test products for them. So I got sent out a Ring video doorbell, a load of leak sensors for the house, and some open and shut window sensors, and all of those I then put immediately onto the insurance and got more discount. So they sent me stuff out for free, which now gives me more discount on my insurance.
I think the other thing to point out in terms of like when we're talking about security around cars and that is specifically for Milton, and when I had my trailer was just wheel clamps for trailers, caravans, that sort of thing. Maybe vehicles that don't move a lot that are sat in your drive for ages, something like that is a deterrent. Because somebody did try to take my trailer once, and because they were far enough away from my Blink camera, the camera didn't pick it up. So they weren't moving close enough. Luckily, the neighbours woke up and scared them off because their bedroom was at the front and ours was at the back, so we didn't hear them. It was like, right, immediately I took all the wheels off so they can't steal it in future if they want to, and ordered some wheel clamps and a lock to go on the ball on the hitch on the front, which, to be honest, I think I gave to Milton when he bought the trailer off me.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest fears is, like, I walk around to my garage area and just find it gone.
And like I said before, if somebody's going to take it, they're going to take it.
It's one of the biggest things.
You've seen the cats of the converted thieves. They'll do it in broad daylight in front of everyone. Exactly. But if you've got deterrents on there, they're just not going to bother because it's not worth the hassle.
We as a team, we're very consummately aware that we're quite lucky in this cost of living crisis, and we don't want you guys. We don't want to see you guys struggling to replace kind of your pride and joy because someone's half-inched it. And if you can provide that information to the police, there's a chance that they get caught and they don't do it to someone else. There's a very small chance that you get your car back if they've not chopped it up.
It does happen. It actually happens that you get your car back quite more often than not. Especially with trackers, that's another thing worth looking into, especially if your car's worth a lot, is trackers, because thieves will take a car, dump it somewhere, leave it for a couple of weeks to see if the company or the police will pick it up because it's got a tracker. If it's there for a couple of weeks and it hasn't been picked up by the police or whatever, they'll come back and then they'll take it wherever they're going to go, because they've just cottoned on to the fact that people have trackers.
Yep. So now that we've talked about a particularly serious and grown-up topic, but I think one of the
actual legit consumer advice.
And that's like the second time we've ever been adults in the podcast. The first time was probably the mental health episode where we were grown-ups for a bit. So the other thing that we wanted to talk about this week that's slightly less of an advert for Lockett Home Insurance is first cars. So we talked about first cars a while ago, and it was when we really were starting out, and I don't think we were the most professional about talking about.
When are we ever professional?
No, but like again, it's a little bit of consumer advice time about what's going on in the world and what we're getting. And I started out with a banger. I think we all started out with bangers. I was very quickly. What?
Behave.
All right.
He still got his first car.
Yeah.
Which was?
No way.
My MX-5 was my first car.
Fair enough.
That was not a banger.
All all of us, except for Mr. Fancy.
No, I didn't start with cars, so it didn't really count. But behave.
What did you start on then, Bryn?
Motorbikes. I had bikes for ages before I had a car.
So what Bryn's denying here is he probably had a little 125.
Still a motorbike. I had a 50cc geared moped. It would do 70 miles an hour, legit, clocked it using a friend's jigsaw, and never had a twist and go. But yeah, I had a 50 and then a 125, which were fantastic and cheap ways of getting on the road if you don't mind potentially dying 3 times a year.
Yeah.
I have a 125. It's brand new. Picked up an old lady who then got arthritis and can't ride, so I got it cheap. It's got 8 horsepower. It does 60. No, it does 73 downhill. That's the fastest it will go.
I think that's
it hits the rev limiter. You just feel it go. I
think that's actually another bit of cost of living crisis advice there. If it costs you £1 million to run your performance car, go and get a cheap motorbike. It does not cost £1 million to run a 125 bike.
It also gives you a lot more road respect and also makes you a lot more a vigilant driver.
So I think Matt, you're the only one of us that hasn't had bikes before.
I don't think I'd trust myself on a bike.
I mean, I never trusted myself on a bike.
That's very tempting.
I do this to my own sanity because I think I would thoroughly enjoy having a bike. But I definitely would go too fast at some point and come off it.
I definitely did go too fast at multiple points and come off it.
Yeah.
I only ever came off it going really slow, which bothers me greatly.
That's great, Bryn. That's like my crashing of cars. I have never crashed a car at high speed. It's always like 30 mile an hour.
Yeah, but
I wrote a car off with my crash.
Me and Bryn had a mutual friend that pulled a nerve out of his arm and his left arm doesn't work from a bike crash. So I'm like, that kind of puts me off.
Yeah. If you're gonna crash your motorbike, just go whole hog and die. Like don't get really injured, because that's when you have
don't get brave and survive.
Also, if you're gonna get a motorbike, don't really worry about looking cool while you're riding it. Like, don't be the guy that's like, I want a moped in flip-flops and shorts, because that's gonna hurt.
Yeah,
all the gear,
amount
all the
of
time.
like dash cam videos you see where somebody comes off a bike and then there's just their whole back is just bright red, where they just peeled the top layer of skin off. It's like
I was a big fan of Kevlar gear.
Yeah,
because you can at least like have a jeans and a shirt that looks. You can look cool in Kevlar gear. They're making enough.
The other thing with modern bike leathers, and I do know this, is they come with heating and cooling in them.
Yeah.
So you've got no excuse that leathers are too hot.
Yeah, I mean, leathers are not too hot. If you're driving properly, you just undo that little bit of zip, get your little bit of cleavage out. You get plenty of airflow through that bad boy.
Yeah.
I think I have the advantage that I always rode cruisers instead of sports bikes anyway. So like you can kind of.
Well, you have a better air intake if you're on a sports bike because you can't help but ride everywhere like this. I mean, you get horrendous backache, but the cooling's fantastic.
So yeah, I mean that could be the entire episode. If you're going to get a car, first car, just get a bike.
It would be a rubbish car channel if that was our advice.
We could go into being a bike channel really easily, Matt. We just fire you and us three carry on talking.
But if you are gonna buy a first car, what would you buy these days? Because the Corsa B doesn't really exist. Nissan Micras, they're worth money now.
Yeah.
Lupos, fuck me, try and buy a Lupo for less than like $2,000. It's a Lupo, behave.
But this is my point, right, Brian? So I was thinking about this, right? And the actual first car I owned that I drove was a Ford Ka.
Oh, what a car. If you've never had or been in a Ka, your opinion of a Ford Ka will be, that is an awful car. You are so wrong. They are so good.
I think something to point out at this point in time is, no matter what your first car is, especially if it's your first year after getting your license and you're on the road, it's going to be a shit car. It's not going to be what you want. There are exceptions.
But it's not. That's the problem. These days, these kids' first cars aren't shit, and they should be. Yeah. They should be shit. Stop buying your kid, financing a fairly new car, because they're going to reverse it straight into a Lambo, because that's what you do.
This is my point. No matter what you buy, you are going to crash it.
But ladies and gentlemen, I would like to clarify the reason I chose this topic this week is because I knew I'd get some Bryn rants.
Hey, everyone's first car gets reversed into a post box and has 12 inches of scratch down the side. Now, if that's a fucking 21 plate Golf, you're going to struggle to repair that. If it's a Corsa B, you stick flowers all over it and crack on with your life.
Or you just go the scrappy.
I didn't crash my first car. I didn't have any bumps in it either.
Neither did I.
What's wrong with you?
I had an absolute belter of a crash in my second car.
I crashed two of my first three cars.
That's why you should never own a bike.
Yeah, man. That's...
To be fair, the second one, I say crashed, I reversed into something.
Ah, okay.
That's fine.
You got to really be pushing backwards quite hard to do that on a bike.
No, we'll get to that, I'm sure.
No, I mean, I had that Ka for 3 months, and then I was fortunate with my first sales gig, and we made no secret of the fact I did all right back then, and I bought myself a shiny brand new Mini. But I had 3 months in a shitbox, and it probably made me a better driver because I had to think about when I needed to start braking for a corner. It didn't teach me the lesson, but...
And the other thing your first car teaches you is humility, because there should always be something horribly wrong with it. And if there isn't, you're doing it wrong. My friend's first car had an engine fault. We never found out what it was because we didn't know about cars then. If you accelerated slightly too hard, the engine warning light would come on and it would lose all its power. Now, this girl lived on a national speed limit road, so pulling out of her drive every day was a gamble. You needed to put your foot down, but not too far down.
You cut your first car, and you need to have, every time someone gets in it, oh, don't worry about that. That's a normal situation.
Don't touch that window.
I think your problem with that is modern cars are too reliable.
Yeah.
In comparison to what, because my first car was a 306 from 1998, 7, something like that.
But that's part of the problem.
I didn't have it long enough to be reliable.
The scrappage scheme ate up a lot of good first cars. And then the absolute craziness that's gone on with used car prices is eating up a lot as well. By the time you've got...
And finance.
Finance is... I can't say a lot because I worked in the finance industry for a bit.
Just for clarity, my first car, if I was to buy the same one now, is £2,800.
That's mental.
It's gone up.
Do you remember when you could just?
1,000%.
Do you remember when you could just pick up a car for like £2,300 and it's gone up 1,000%?
Sorry.
I was going to say, because when I
100%.
owned my 306, I lift off oversteered into
10
a Fiat and
times.
it landed upside down. And the car I bought after that was a Fiat Punto for £400. Not a chance you're ever going to do that now.
I had a £400 Punto as well, and that was the one that I ripped out the insides and put the Alpha interior in. I could only afford to buy the Alpha interior because I spent...
Actually, that Fiat Punto was my first modified car.
Mm.
It came with a back box on it, and it had a pink metal gear knob. And then it lasted 3 months, and the head gasket went because it's a Fiat.
Fiats are interesting for reliability. First car advice: don't buy a Fiat.
No, dude, because it's really funny. My friend had one. Second gear, just completely gave up. Listening to him leave any event was amazing because it was. Because a 1.2 or whatever they were cannot skip gears. You need them all.
The thing is, if anybody asks me about cars and they won't take my advice of a specific model of car, I just tell them to buy Japanese.
Yeah.
That's most, if not all, Japanese cars are stupidly reliable at this point.
Apart from their inability to prevent rust.
Well, yeah. Mechanically, they're stupidly reliable.
Yeah.
Because they don't chuck salt on their roads, so they don't feel the need to underseal their cars. So they ship it to
that's totally fair. I think the reality is I think if I was going to tell, and this is a bit of a conversation I've been having with Laura recently, because she scarily can't drive yet.
Yet being keyword.
Look at Bryn's like, Bam's dating someone who can't drive. What?
Mate, anyone who's this old that can't drive scares the out of me.
And so when I first met Nicole, she couldn't drive, but that
yeah. So she's
I'm still working on that.
And she said to me the other day, she said, "Do I really need to learn manual?"
Yes.
No.
Well, no.
Yes.
I suppose you don't.
Yes.
I mean, you don't. It depends. You don't need
if
to.
you're going to drive the kind of way we like to drive and go out on track, yes.
No. Go on, mate. You say your piece. Go on.
I would say yes, because it gives you more options when buying a car.
Yeah.
I would say if you go down the route of the way people are buying first cars right now, which Bryn has mentioned. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But if you're going down that route, it doesn't actually let you buy more cars. The same amount of cars, all the models are available as autos.
Yeah, the thing is, go on.
It's not like when we were kids. We're looking old now, Matt.
Back in our day. No, the reason why I say you should learn manual is so you've got that manual license. Because if I'm on a long drive, I've got the family and I'm feeling tired and she's not. If she's got an automatic license, she ain't got it driving my car.
Yeah, but if I'm on a long drive, I'm in the Spike, it's an auto. If I'm in a long drive and I've got the Maserati, when I get my hands on that, it's an auto.
Yeah, but my cars are manual.
With a flappy button.
Yeah, the other thing
you
is...
seem to be picking boring cars, Bam.
I mean, I've got the stage yet, and no one gets to drive that.
All right, so put it this way. Laura isn't that into cars at the moment.
Yeah.
And at this moment in time, an auto license will probably be fine, and she'll only ever drive autos, and that won't be an issue. But what if in 2, 3, 4 years, she spent so much time with you that she wants a performance car?
I get to build some pretty sick auto cars. That's what happens.
How much power can an MX-5 auto box take? No, what if that's the answer? What if they could take like 400 horsepower? I think stupid.
No one from our community's tested that yet. So there we go. There's a future episode. We'll stick an auto box in something that had a manual box and just confuse everybody, and then we'll see how long it takes us to
imagine that though. Like that was the golden.
Won't. No, I've experienced an MX-5 auto box, and
those auto boxes are terrible.
Okay,
we're talking early '90s auto boxes. They're fucking.
Anyway, tangent. Sorry, my bad.
tangent. Yeah. So back to first cars. I think if I had money on finance to buy a car, the first car right now, I would definitely not go VW.
No.
I
say Japanese.
No. I'm not even going to say Japanese.
If it's a Vauxhall Adam, you can leave.
No, it's not. It's not
German.
It's a Renault Zoe,
No,
the other person named car.
It's actually made by Geely.
Who?
Who?
Chinese. Like,
Oh,
top
I've
tier.
seen them. They do
so
electric.
what is it actually then?
MG4.
They do an electric car that's a 7-seater with 500 horsepower.
The MG4 in the trophy spec is 31 grand. It's the equivalent money as a Mark IV Golf. It's a 300-mile range electric car, and I would get that. And it looks all right.
Absolutely not.
It looks like a Tesla Model X in low res. That's what it looks like.
You've got to get the trophy though. This is the trick they've done right. You've got to get the trophy because all the rest of them look horrific.
It doesn't look better, Bam.
It does look better because it's got these little.
Look better. It doesn't look better. It does not look better. It's just fucking orange. Okay.
Wait, no, it's not orange. You can have it in any colour you want. You can have it in Smurf blue. Not that I've got the price for it in Smurf blue. But the best bit about it is it's got a little like roof spoiler on the back of the car, which actually reduces its efficiency.
It looks awful.
I like it.
Moving on.
I'm into that. As a first electric car for someone who's just started out now, the direction of travel is electric. You're gonna have it for 4 or 5 years. Hands
you send
down.
them out to buy a Honda.
No, you don't.
You haven't picked a Honda.
You don't.
Yourself.
You don't send them out for the Honda because the Honda does 136 miles and charges slowly, and nobody can do a 2-hour pill at a service station.
It charges slowly. It charges 80% in like 30 minutes.
It's their first car. Where are they going?
80%. 80%.
We're also talking about first cars that cost £30,000.
Yes.
Welcome to the world of finance, Matthew.
No. Let's. I'm googling cheapest finance cars, and you've got to pick one.
Okay. All right.
That's probably something like the Dacia Sandero.
I would have a Dacia Sandero actually.
I would.
And a Dacia Duster as well.
If I was if I was going to recommend something sensible,
okay,
something like a Toyota Aygo, either used or brand new.
Yeah. No.
I'd have happily had a Mark 1 Aygo. I thought they were really good.
And
they didn't come with a rev counter, so you had no idea how fast
if you got the top range, it had what looked like an aftermarket rev counter bolted to the top of the dash.
The cheapest options are not good.
It's a lot of money to finance a car.
I say Nicole had an Aygo, and it was a lot of fun. The thing is though, because they're so good, even the Aygo, the C1 or the 107, they all hold their value like crazy. So even a Mark 1 Aygo is still like $3,000.
I'm gonna frame this in a different way now because I've just had another concept here. So if I'm saying
I'm abandoning my idea because they're all terrible, and all of us are driving a Hyundai i20 because that's the only thing on that list worth having.
So right, if we say that getting a loan for 31 grand to get our first car is the direction of travel here. Don't get
it's not the direction of travel.
Let me finish.
Your sight's lower.
Let me finish. I'm setting the sights lower. Don't get a 31 grand loan. Get a 20 grand loan and buy a Maserati Ghibli and then give it to me. And I'll give you a Honda Mobilio Spike in exchange.
This went off the rails really quickly.
All right, so sub 20 grand, things that I can think of that are sub 20 grand that are cool. Actually, the Mobilio as an auto car, there you go, with my little bit of advice about would you bother to learn manual or auto.
The other thing you've got to bear in mind is how ludicrous insurance prices are at the moment.
But the other side of that is with the Spike, right? Because you're young and you're a teenager, you can get someone pregnant in the back seats because they turn into a bed. Teenage shit, innit?
No, that's so busy bad life advice. Don't buy a Spike. Don't get them pregnant. Just carry on eating chicken wings in the back like you're supposed to do when you're a teenager.
So, see, this the other reason I bring the Aygo up, because it's a 1 litre 3-cylinder. It's really cheap to insure, but it's £20 a year in tax. Like it's so simple, nothing can go wrong with it. like it's really, really easy to cheat run and maintain. Like Nicole had hers for 18 months, and we
isn't that part of
it.
the fun of owning a cheap shit car? Is going, oh shit, my tax has run out, and I need to find some money now. Isn't that part of the fun?
Well, that's not what you get with an electric car because tax is free.
I'm in danger.
For now. But the other good thing about an iGo,
if you buy an early iGo, nothing will ever break on it because it doesn't have anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have electric windows. It had manual windows.
The best kind.
Everyone should experience.
The panic wind while it's pissing it down.
Which reminds me.
The other good thing about an iGo is it's a 3-cylinder. So when you do want to get into modifying your car, all you have to do is take a drill to somewhere just before the back box, and they sound sick.
But while we're talking about broken windows, if anyone has a passenger side Mark 1 MX-5 electric window mechanism, hook me up.
Mark 2s and Mark 1's different.
Don't know.
I have no idea.
Could be.
I don't want to run the risk. So Mark 1. Yeah, don't. So as Bryn said, don't buy a Spike and get someone pregnant. It's probably a bad plan. Do buy a Spike because they're wicked. Just be aware that you will be filling up all the time. Cause...
That's bad first car advice again. But
no.
You're not good at first cars. You're banned. You're banned from doing first car.
It's been so long since I bought a first car. Leave me alone.
I'm just reminding myself of the Top Gear episode where they did this. James had the Golf.
Yeah.
What?
Clarkson had the Volvo estate.
Yeah, Clarkson came with the massive Volvo estate, and then Hammond came with the Hyundai Coupe.
Actually, quick, while you're looking up prices of things, Milts, look up the price of a Volvo 240 estate.
Oh, they're well expensive now because all the idiots are crashing them, drifting now.
Yeah.
What?
Anything rear-wheel drive is expensive these days.
That's because your friends go and smash them up on a track.
1,500.
Our friends don't smash our cars. That's why we're friends with them.
I've seen Milton smash bits of his car on regular occurrences.
Milton's car is still the correct shape in the rear. He hasn't made a compact MX-5.
My car is the most reliable car in the world, but it has got.
Why have you said that out loud, Milton?
I've been out on drift days and seen people turn BMW estates into compact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, my car's got an air leak. It's idling at 3K.
Find it.
Fix it.
That means going into the garage.
Get some gaffer tape and go and just tape it up and fix it.
Tape the whole engine. Just cover it in tape. No air's getting in there anymore.
Just borrow a mate who vapes and just get him to vape into the intake. You'll soon see where it's leaking.
Colgate, I need you.
Yeah. So first cars. If you're buying a car for your child, just buy an old boxy Volvo because they are tanks.
Oh yeah, any Volvo.
Yeah, but they'll give you whiplash the second you have a crash.
No, they won't.
No, don't buy an old boxy Volvo. Don't listen to him. Find the lowest Euro NCAP safety rating car that you can on eBay, and you buy that for them because it's important to learn those life lessons. It's not the first car. It's not the first car if you don't fear for your life every time you overtake a lorry on the motorway. Okay?
Yeah, that's why you do it in an iGo because it has 64 horsepower.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure you have to be thoroughly sure you've got the gap to make.
I'm committing to this overtake in the next 3 months.
Yeah,
no driver aids, so they can't just like fucking traction control their way around a wet roundabout. It is important that we teach these kids how to drive properly by making them think they're going to die.
The fear of understeer.
The other problem is you may as well buy yourself a shit, cheap, slow car because your insurance company will rape you and put a black box on it anyway.
Untrue.
That's it.
Untrue. They will do that for a car that people commonly buy when they're young, which you buy an uncommon car like a Maserati Ghibli.
Nicole had one on her iGo.
No one has one of them for their first car.
Yeah,
Nicole had one on her iGo. I forgot it was there, and they rang her up going, "Why did you do 90 down the M6?"
Matt, you did 90 in Mexico.
How?
Yeah, the M6 in Mexico.
Down the M6?
It's average speed camera.
It's the M6, and secondly, it's an iGo.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you get out of the Birmingham area of the M6, there's no cameras.
It is true.
There is now contraflow, so you're only doing 50. But back then there wasn't any cameras.
You gave that iGo everything it had.
Oh yeah, it was like rev limiter, fifth gear.
Was it downhill?
Because there was no rev gauge. Yeah, if you're genuinely looking for a good, cheap first car, just look at the insurance group. Sort by insurance group and get the one that's cheap to insure. It doesn't matter what it is. To have it for 12 months, crash it, bend it, break it, then throw it away and get something good.
Okay. And don't cry when you do bend it.
And you will bend it.
Spend loads of money getting it fixed because
don't bother.
Just crash it again. Just accept that you're gonna crash it, and from that point things get better.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I like I say, I rolled my first car because that was just inexperience. That was Peugeot lift off oversteer. The second one, I was at Donington Park doing marshalling, so they send you to your post via the actual track. I missed my point and I was turning around and I was reversing. And what they have at Donington is these low walls that are only 3 foot high, like knee height, and then a fence behind it that's 6 foot tall. So I'm reversing up, looking at this fence, and then all of a sudden it's like clunk. It's like, there's a wall there. And it wasn't until I pulled forward a couple of feet I saw the wall. It's like, yeah, that'll do it.
And that's the thing.
I'd already rolled a car and blown a head gasket on one, so I was like, yeah.
Yeah. In your first car, it's not big crashes that you've got to worry about. You will do dumb shit. You will do really dumb shit in your first car. And you don't want to be worrying about it.
I would like to clarify that you'll also do really dumb shit in your 13th car.
different dumb shit.
Yeah,
sometimes the same dumb shit.
Yeah, you're gonna bump your car at some point. You'll misjudge a turn. I did it in my Clio. I misjudged a turn, hit the curb, blew a tire.
Don't get overexcited down country roads with loads of potholes. You'll crack your front bumper. If anyone sees the spike, that's what happened.
I mean, to be fair, I crashed into my own car not that long ago because I parked it somewhere I don't normally park it and then went out in another car and just reversed into it. I went, oh yeah, I did that 10 minutes ago.
So no, I did reverse into the girder at work yesterday, but I've got tow bars, so it just went.
Everyone got concussion.
On the front of the stage here, my front number plate, as you guys know, hangs out at an angle. And what I do is I drive it, and when I'm parking near a wall, I just wait for the resistance. Just roll it in slowly. Yeah. And you just go, oh, I've hit my front bumper on that. I probably damaged it. Oh no, the number plate has saved me again. First car tip, tilty number plates.
That's why I liked having a tow bar. You park up against a wall somewhere, and you just keep going until it stops. And he's like,
but I'm always worried that the bumpers, the tow bars, is going to go underneath, and then. But
this is why I have a terrible old Passat, because I just reverse into things and accept it.
I'm parking here now.
Passat that you were definitely going to sell when you bought the GS.
Yeah, well, it's a better car than a Lexus. You heard me.
I'm proud of Bryn for joining 3-car life.
Is the Lexus overrated, Bryn?
The Lexus is not overrated. It's just far too nice. Because just as your first car, owning a 2003 Passat that's got moon miles on it, you just don't care. You can go anywhere you like, as fast as you like, and none of the other idiots on the road bother you. Right?
Yeah, because they don't want to crash there.
Not long ago, and a BMW on the other side of the road just started coming into my lane. I fucking shit myself. In the Passat, I'd have turned into the.
This is why I missed my first blue Mazda 6. Because I paid 500 quid for that, and like one of the times we were loading tyres up outside your house, Bryn, and because of the way that I'd parked, it stuck out no more than 6 inches out of the end of the road, and some old couple had come reversing down straight into it while we were on the back, and they're all come out like all apologetic. So I looked at the front and went, "There's a scratch." Nah, carry on. I just didn't. You don't care when you've got a cheap car like that, and if you start with something like that, then yeah, should add scratches.
So new cars. Our advice is buy it cheap, buy it twice.
The other thing to point out is when you pass your test, you've learned to pass your test. You haven't learned to drive.
Yeah, I would not
learn a hell of a lot.
I would like to clarify: if you put me in a driving test right now, I'd fail it.
I think we'd all fail
horrifically, because I have developed the greatest gangsterly when cruising.
That's what I mean. I think we'd all fail now because they're looking for very specific things that you really don't need to do on the road.
Like reverse bay park.
I do that actually quite often.
And parallel parking. I just
I can't parallel park.
I can't remember the last time I parallel parked.
I actually parallel parked. I parallel parked.
Parallel parking. Bow down to me in my parallel parking ability.
I parallel parked about 2 hours ago, but it didn't go well because it was in a tight street.
The thing is, usually 99% of the time when I'm parallel parking, I'll look for 2 or 3 spaces together in a line and then just drive in forwards.
Oh no, I'm on a narrow street. I found the cheat code.
Yeah.
But I don't go anywhere that I have to properly parallel park.
Yeah.
It's actually a lot more. It's a lot less common than you think it would be.
I've also been driving my Insignia for 3 years now. 42,000 miles. I still don't know how long the fucking thing is. I'm always constantly backing up and then going, I think I'm in. Open it up.
I'll tell you another reason to just stick with auto cars, right? Every now and again, if I haven't driven the Spike or driven the Stagia for like a month, I'll just forget that clutches exist when I'm stopping. I'll do it once and I'm like, oh yeah, shit, this is a manual. Like, I'll have done the gears and everything for the drive, and then I'll come up to a set of traffic lights and be like, oh, fuck.
Clunk. Yeah.
I have the opposite problem, which is when I haven't driven the Lexus for a while, which is an auto, I forget how autos work. Guess where the handbrake is in a Lexus? That's right, it's a pedal on the left.
It's the same in the Spike.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
You have that moment where you start pressing and go, no.
Have you tried the trick of wedging open the release?
It's too nice. I don't trust it.
One of my favourite things is I don't actually use the handbrake, I guess, on the Spike very often. So every now and again I will use it and then drive off with it still on, having forgotten that I've used it.
Doesn't it sound... Oh.
It's a 4-wheel drive with low range. It just like
it doesn't notice.
It's just that I can't roll places, but I can still drive places. So yeah, I actually think if I had, I reckon $6,000 is a fair budget for a first car these days.
Okay, that's better. I'll play the game now. Yeah. I'll play the game now.
$6,000. None of my cars have ever cost $6,000.
The Spike,
the biggest
cost me
thing,
$6,000, and that's where I'm getting that number from. And I would definitely have had a Spike as a first car.
The biggest sort of obstacle for getting your first car is the insurance.
Yeah.
Because depending on where you live, depends on what you can have.
That's because you're an old man.
No, it's not. It's not because I'm an old man. It's because it's cheap, because nobody has one. So they've got no statistics for it.
Yeah. Because this is the other thing. Is like when I moved out,
and nobody's going to steal a box.
So even in my late 20s, my insurance doubled because I moved house. The location was more important than the car it was.
That's because you moved to the Greater Birmingham area, Matthew.
Yeah, and then we moved here, and it halved again. So I think what your first car is depends totally on where you live.
There are areas in the UK
if you live in a really nice area, you'll probably get away with buying an MX-5. Just so everybody knows, if you want to buy and insure a Mark 1 MX-5, buy a UK 1.6. Because they are a lot cheaper like half the cost to insure than the imports. If you can find one that's not rusty, obviously.
I mean, my advice on buying your first car, if we're talking about what the insurance is going to cost, is that in some areas, your first car should just be a push bike until you can afford a house out of that area.
Yeah, and that's again, the biggest obstacle will be your insurance cost.
But you can get around that by getting your dad or your mum.
Put them on as a named driver. It does help.
Well, couldn't they put you on it now, Bam? You're an old man.
Not me. No.
But it depends on the relationship.
No one wants me on their insurance.
Or maybe Matt. Or is Matt our resident old man now?
Matt is our resident James May.
I'm the only person here who doesn't own an estate car anymore.
I was talking to someone the other week, actually, going slightly off topic, but I was talking to someone over the other week. I said there's some clear personality types in our podcast, and that Matt is definitely the James May, that I'm the Clarkson, and that you two is like having a pair of hamsters.
I'll take that.
Bryn can be a James May when he wants to be.
He can be, but in the same way that
hang on, Richard Hammond crashes all the time.
Yeah, if we see
how long did you have your front bumpers black, Milton, and what was the reason for that?
I got told by a Firefly to drive harder, so I did.
How many times at BDC did people have to fix your car?
He crashed it. He didn't crash it.
The gearbox wasn't my fault.
They just didn't put it back together properly.
I think it just, yeah. Also, side note, 6 speeds are cool. I can do the drift taxi in third.
So side topic on 6 speeds, I found that out one of the Rockingham days. So I was driving with one of my mates who had a 6-speed and a Torsen. He was doing one of the corners in third, and I was doing the same corner in second with my 5-speed.
Yeah.
Shows you how much of a difference gear ratios make.
Back to first cars now.
I want to say, because every time we try and tell people what they should buy as a first car, you come up with some ridiculous reason why it's a Honda Spike. So here's the actual rules of the game.
Okay.
It's not a brand new car.
Okay. But
it has to be from after 2010, and you cannot import it.
Oh.
What are you buying as your child's first car? Let's say you've got middle-class dad money and you want to buy your kid a decent first car, but you don't want to get them something really good because you know they're going to crash it. After 2010, what are you buying?
Post 2010, yeah.
I don't think I know any cars after 2010.
I'm not going to give you like a budget because then we'd have to look it up, but reasonable, let's say around $6,000. You'd look at it and think it's going to be that or less.
I've got it.
Points for less.
What you got, Milton?
It's what I was thinking of straight away, and I know it sucks, but a Ford Fiesta.
Yeah?
I would buy what Nicole has right now.
Mazda 2?
Mazda 2 is basically Ford Fiesta.
Well, it comes with aux in and a CD player, and it's relatively safe. Hers is reliable.
Kids don't have CD players.
How much are we willing to let our child...
It's got fucking cruise control as well. So
quick question.
You can pick them up for a couple of grand.
Quick question for Bryn.
Yes.
How much are we willing to let said child be bullied at school for their parents' choice of car? Are we willing?
However much you like, darling.
Okay.
The thing is, though, if you're driving...
I'm having a quick browse of Auto Trader, because it's the middle-class way of buying cars.
I might also point out that the Mazda is a Fiesta chassis. So when you've had your car 12 months and your insurance comes down, you can put Mark 7 coilovers on it.
I found it. A neon pink Fiat 500.
Oh my God.
£2,200.
That means the mum does OnlyFans.
Yep, especially when you give it to your teenage son. No risk of that teenage boy getting any teenage girls pregnant, because they'll all be too busy laughing at him.
How is this your advice? How have you gone from buy a Spike and get a girl pregnant to buy a pink Fiat 500 and never get a girl pregnant?
I'm the parent now. Previously, I was the child, obviously.
You could buy a limited edition Corsa, 2.5.
Oh, they're all a limited edition.
I'm just looking at the Mazda 2s, the same shape as Nicole's, so the 2010s. You can pick them up for just under £2,000. So there's one here, 3-door, 1,800 quid, 1.3, 86 horsepower.
Honestly, I think Matt might be right, and I think probably the Mazda 2 is actually the best first car that you could buy in that category.
There's a micro scene.
It's more reliable than the Fiesta, and it's the Fiesta chassis.
It's Fiat 500, it's Mini, it's Igo, and Mazda 2. Those are the best options. Or a Fiesta if you actually want everyone to laugh at you.
What about a Citroen C4 Picasso 2010 for £1,500.
No.
What a 7-seater.
Yeah. Then you're being considerate to all their friends because they can drive more of their friends to the pub where only one person is driving and your child doesn't develop an alcohol problem.
So I was just out of curiosity, I was having a look at the original shape Igo. You can pick up £2,000. So same money, one less cylinder,
Or a Yaris.
a cheaper bracket. But if you want to get it, like Milton said there, if you want something slightly bigger than the size of the Mazda 2, Yaris.
I think the moral of the story here is actually, boys. I think it's if you're being a parent buying a car for your teenager, there's two ways you can go. You can either go the route I'm going, where they will get relentlessly bullied, but it'll be cheap and you'll have a bit of a laugh at their expense, which is okay sometimes. Or you can go the route the rest of them are going, who are actually moderately sensible adults, 5% of the time.
Because I love my child, Bam, and I want them to love me.
I hate the fact that I had to sell a race car to have them.
My race car's got better since having one.
You have a very understanding wife, though, Milton.
Because I have a bigger penis than 4 inches.
She is. His wife is okay with him going and spending a weekend in a hotel room with another man.
I haven't told her yet.
How about something that's less common? Suzuki Swift.
Yeah.
Suzuki Swift.
Done.
Good.
Done. Right. Let's. Have we achieved consensus here?
If you want to be cool, buy a Suzuki Swift, but not in yellow.
In yellow. No, don't do it. In yellow with a Pikachu tail. Done.
I circle back to my original advice: is any small Japanese car.
Basically, yeah.
Suzuki Swift in yellow, paint it so it looks like Pikachu. Done.
Let me see how cheap the cheapest yellow one is.
Oh, he's gonna do a Google, kids. Weird.
More than £6,000 because that's where I've got my filter set, and there's none coming up.
Oof.
But you can make it look like Pikachu, and it's all right then.
Anyway,
they're probably still in Pikachu.
Yeah.
Bam. What do people need to do?
What people need to do is they need to like the video, do a subscribe, go subscribe to us on Spotify. Maybe check out the home insurance company that we mentioned earlier, Lockett. They'll probably tell us that we're not allowed to use their links anymore after hearing the way we swear like sailors. But you know, there we go.
I mean, robbing houses, swearing.
Yeah,
I think we're the good guys.
Don't forget to check out the Rear Axle Divergence YouTube channel. I've noticed Bryn posting stuff again recently.
Did I?
On some social media sites, you've done it. You probably haven't done it on YouTube.
It's probably Instagram.
Stories. Bryn, you need to put them in because of you, I now have a Skid Nation Radiator fan shroud.
Nice.
Now, what else we've got going on? So yeah, next week, don't forget to tune in. Not next week. Tune in the week after next because we're doing this bi-weekly now. Don't forget to tune in. And
we're doing a spy episode.
Oh my god, that's the subject. What would your spy car be?
Right.
Think about it for next time.
The episode after.
Write it down. Write it down.
The episode after we've spoken to John, we'll do spy cars.
You are 007.5.
Yeah. So
right,
coming up, we have over the next few weeks, we have John from Formula G. We have spy cars. We have Mac Frost, if I remember to message him later today to book him. I will. Mac, we're coming for you. We want you on. We have
actually he watches us, so if he hasn't messaged you, message him.
Yeah, Mac, message me quickly, Mac. Drop in my DMs.
Also, we've got the market manager from Autoglim, Mark Johnson. He wants to join.
Autoglim, Mark Johnson's going to come hang out with us. It's really weird because we're a little podcast, and these really cool people want to hang out with us, which. Yeah. Maybe we're getting something right. And Dave, I've noticed you've not subscribed yet, so you better hit the subscribe button. If your name's Dave right now, hit the subscribe button.
And comment, I'm Dave.
We'll know. If you comment, I'm Dave, and you hit the subscribe button, everybody that does that gets entered into a competition to win a bundle of 10 stickers. And we'll just.
This was the longest sign out ever.
It was. Thanks for listening to the longest sign out ever. I've been Bam. That dude's been Milton.
Goodbye.
That dude's been Matt. That dude that looks like a lady's been Karen.
Bye.
And we will see you all on the next episode of Shoot and Shift. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Videos are about there.